فيها فينظر كيف تعملون فاتقوا الدنيا واتقوا النساء فإن أول فتنة بني إسرائيل كانت في النساء. رواه مسلم. الحديث رواه مسلم في كتابه الرقاق. Hadith narrated by Sayyidina Sa'id al-Khudri, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu warda, Sahabi Jalil radiyallahu anhu warda. And he says that the Prophet ﷺ said, indeed the dunya is hulwatun khadira. It's like a sweet fruit. It's like a sweet fruit. It has a lot of sweetness. It bears a lot of fruit. It's dunya. The dunya is something that you want to pluck, isn't it? You want to pluck it. That's how you feel about the dunya. If I can have that, it's sweet. If I can have that, it's sweet. It's something you want to pluck like a fresh, beautiful, juicy-looking, tasty fruit. Yeah? You feel like plucking it off. How could that dunya is enticing, yani? This is metaphor. This is the way the Prophet ﷺ speaks. It's enticing the dunya. That's the nature of the dunya. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ said in one report that a dunya is sijn al-mu'min. It's like a prison for the believer. Why? Because you want to pluck everything, but yet Allah is telling you, be careful of this, be careful of that, be careful of this, be careful of that. And it's like, imagine if there were no rules. I could just pluck whatever I wanted, have whatever I want. Surely it'd be easier. This is the zahir of the dunya. You know, outwardly, somebody could look at it, let's say somebody that doesn't have rules, let's say. Someone that doesn't follow Sharia. They kind of just follow a basic harm principle in philosophy, which is the idea that as long as you don't harm people or cause harm to yourself, do what you want, carpe diem, seize the day, live in the moment, just do it. Such life would be easy. Don't have to worry about namaz, don't have to worry about zakat, don't have to worry about being dutiful to parents, or fulfilling the rights of my spouse and my children. Just whatever I want. Just do what I want. It really does sound nice if you think about it. Sounds nice. Love is love. Do what you want, let people do what they want, enjoy yourselves. It does. At first glance, it has an appeal. It really does. Until you live it. Until you live it. And this is why often, I was speaking to somebody who was like a normal guy growing up in the UK, wasn't practicing Islam, did all kinds of all kinds of things. Then he started practicing, fought for his religion, helped build a mosque, sort of became important in that mosque. And his kids sort of grown up without the fight, given everything, raised well. I mean, this was a generation generally neglected by their parents. Sort of have to fend for yourself religiously as well. You came to the mosque, you didn't understand much of what was going on in the mosque. Everything was in Urdu, perhaps, nothing really in English. No one really there for you. Cultural barriers. Allah bless our parents. 18-hour shifts in the factories, trying to make ends meet, pay the bills, look after family back home in Pakistan. Very difficult. Very difficult. All kinds of mums got all kinds of stresses, can't communicate with the doctors. They don't even know how to explain basic things like anxiety and depression. They don't understand. They don't taboos in our community. Lots of problems. So he was like, we had to fight through those problems, found Allah, had to figure out religion for ourselves. And he said, and then we gifted it to our children. Raised them well, raised them in a language, cultural language too. Not just language, but cultural language that was appealing to them, took them to the right places, spent time with them, didn't neglect them, worked on them, raised them well, Naz, Fakhr. And he said, but they've got no interest. And he said, because we had to fight for it. We had to fight for it. I don't know about I don't know how different people, the people that I know generally, in my generation, what generation is that? People born in the 80s, yeah? I was born in the late 80s. 87, to be precise. And so growing up in the 90s, basically, yeah? It's really scary because I'm teaching these kids and they're all like, when were you born? 2010. 2010? 92 was my user login in school, 92. Like, you know. And, but then you know, alhamdulillah, ila rafiq al-a'la, right? And, but, you know, growing up in that generation, that time, if a girl said, I'm going to wear hijab, she'd have to fight with the parents for it. Now, it's the parents fighting with the kids over it. Saying, put the ready, you should be doing, you know, put hijab on, cover your aura, etc. Sharia doesn't, Allah Ta'ala doesn't like it, etc. Trying to figure out all these clever ways of trying to help them want to wear it themselves, etc. You know, trying to think of all these clever ways. In that generation, I remember people fighting with their parents. The parents look at you, I think, what are you doing that for? Just put the dupatta on, innit? Just put the dupatta on, respectful, wear your Pakistani kapde, your salwar kameez. What's all this covering the front of your hair and your ears and looks ajib? What are you trying to say? What statement are you trying to make? What statement are you trying to make? Or the lad grows a beard. You know how many stories? I don't know. Again, I could be talking to the walls here. I don't know. I'm talking about my own experiences, my own personal experiences and experiences of people around me. Either it's Eva Bioiga. Eva Bioiga is going to bed. This is at that time. At that time. Oh, tu shadi kun desi. You heard that one, right? Tu shadi kun desi. If a woman doesn't respect the sunnah of the Prophet, not worthy of getting married to anyway. The sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ. There was a certain fight for certain people, not everyone, to get the religion, to keep it, let alone converts. So many converts disowned by their families, parents, etc. You know, reading salah in the bathroom, hiding. How many people? Lots of takkeh. So those parents are then practicing, and then they raise their children with ease in that. And the children, the kids don't care. They don't care because they had it easy. They never had to fight for it. They didn't have to make a big change. They didn't go from nearly being in prison or nearly dead or etc. to there was no transition for them. It was just always continuous. And so as a result, sometimes it works out that they become great awliya because they've always been good. But sometimes it works out that for them, they take it for granted. They don't have qadr for it. Qadr for the deen, you know, qadr. It's like, for example, if you know, a lot of like people, if they whatever it may be, just imagine, like, let's say in the masjid you've got lots of classes going on. Let's say, mashallah, let's say you've got lots of classes going on, and you're from a certain generation, you'd appreciate that a lot more, because you're like, oh, I remember a time there was nothing. It was nothing. But if you grow up in a generation, a younger generation, where all of that is given to you easily, you take it for granted. You don't appreciate it as much, like with anything in life. So, in any case, the Prophet ﷺ said the dunya is like this. Sort of pluck the dunya. Sijil al-mu'min, sorry, I was giving an example of where you don't appreciate, you think it's easy if there was no sharia. It's like for most people today, they're not atheists, but they're what you call theophobes. They have theophobia. It's like, they believe in God rationally. They can't get out of that. But they can't lie to themselves. But they wish if he wasn't there. They wish if they didn't have to follow the Sharia. They wish. You see, this is the problem. They believe God exists, but they hate the Sharia. Na'udhu billah min dhalik. May Allah protect us from that state. They wish if they didn't have to do it. Life would just be so much easier. Okay, would it? Would it really be easier? If you think about it, would it? I'll give you one example, and somebody can take this lightly. Look at the World Cup in Qatar. Now, I'm no big fan of the UAE. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the UAE, yeah? And their dodgy dealings and all of their closet and open now politics. Fine, for a second, yeah? But as a country, generally, it has an atmosphere of religion, of Sharia. There's certain modesty laws that they have, public modesty laws. Alcohol is prohibited except for, in people's hotels, like the foreigners, but for the Muslims it's mamnu'. And there are very strict punishments on if you touch a woman. Yeah? You're going to get punished severely. So you put those things together, you take away the alcohol, so people are bahosh. You put strict punishments on someone attempting to catcall, let alone physically touch or harm a woman, you take that away. So you take alcohol away, you're taking that away. You have strong public decency laws that you don't allow people to do stupid things publicly, right? You put those things in place, and like, what do you get? One of the best World Cups in all of history. Family World Cup, they said. The safest World Cup for women. You see the woman on Talk TV? God, I hate that channel. I hate that channel so much. Honestly, just those of you that know, you know, what a rotten load of Islamophobes. And I don't even like using the word Islamophobia. I don't like using that term. But it is what it is. Ever. The lady, she's interviewing from the Palestinian, and she's like, you know, like when you're having a debate, and these guys are very aggressive journalists. Talk TV journalists are very, you know, Pers Mungin's like one of their better ones. Like, he's not, by the way, one of the good ones, but he's not. He's not. He's got his agenda, and he's proven that over the last few months, right? But this woman, I forget her name, that's why I'm referring to her as this woman, right? Just in case somebody comes out and calls me misogynist or something, right? I just don't know her name. What do you want me to call her? They were having this interview with somebody, right? And again, this is just in case I get in trouble, right? They having it's a debate, it gets heated. They never realize when they are over talking somebody else, or they're speaking over somebody else. They'll never see it. They'll just keep on. Because remember, you're having a chat in English, and English isn't his first language. It's always hard to have an argument with somebody when you're having a discussion, it's their first language and ain't your first language. Because they can draw and pluck from so many different types of vocabulary to express themselves, but you can't do that because it ain't your first language. See? So she's basically battering him. Now he's trying to speak, it's over a thingy, so sometimes communication gets mixed up. And instead of just saying, you're talking over me, sir, can you stop talking, can you let me get a word in? She says, I know you're not used to a woman talking back to you. What did that have to do with anything? Like, what a stupid thing to say. Firstly, he's a Palestinian. You have Christian Palestinians. Like, you're so thick, with all due respect, forgive me, I know this is the Musalla of the Prophet ﷺ, but there was a time where Hassan stood and he spoke with very eloquent poetry against the kuffar that were attacking the Prophet ﷺ as well. And in that light, let me say these things, they are so stupid. Honestly, they are. They have no intelligence. I don't know where the aql has gone. They say the silliest things. That's what you call an ad hominem attack. It's a red herring in mantiq, in logic. It's a red herring. You're having one debate and you throw something else that way. It's like when they're talking to Muslims and they're having a debate about, I don't know, Palestine, and they'll be like, yeah, well, you know, your Prophet allowed X. What's that got to do with anything? It's just to create an air or an image about the person so they lose the debate. Because he's winning the debate. How do I make the audience think I won the debate? Oh, remember these stupid Muslim misogynists that hate women? Hate women! The happiest women were on a World Cup was in Qatar. Because if it was anywhere else, people are on the booze and those women are unsafe. How many of them you live in the West? Look at the stats. By the age of 13, how the percentage of girls that have either been catcalled or physically, in some way, physically abused. Because physical abuse it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It could be a single touch. A touch of the shoulder with ill intention. Go and look at the percentages. Civilization. MashaAllah. Hate the Sharia. You do shukr for the Sharia of Islam. You shukr for it. Allah Ta'ala gave it to you. And you extend your hand towards a woman, that hand's going to get severed. That's the honor of a woman, is it not? That's the honor of a woman. And so this is why in Qatar, it was the happiest that they ever were. The guy leaves his phone in his motorbike, the delivery guy, you see the videos? And he goes off to the shop. And the guy's recording him and he goes, you just left your phone stuck on the bike. So no one's going to steal it here. No one's going to steal it here. Are these lands perfect? No, they're not. But the idea that the Sharia is somehow, yeah, in the moment you can do what you want, but if everyone gets to do what they want exactly, then the rest of us are going to be scared. You see what I mean? Because you've got sadists out there too, that take pleasure in the harm of other people. don't you? You have thieves and murderers. You got all kinds of people out there, drug dealers, thugs, with the most disgusting types of crimes taking place. You want a society like that? No. And so Allah says here then, look, Inna Allaha mustakhlifukum fiha. Allah's left you as khulafa, vicegerents as Muslims on this earth. Vicegerents. فَيَنْظُرُوا كَيْفَ تَعْمَلُونَ. So you should, and He looks at how you act. Allah's watching how you act. He left you as khulafa. إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ khalifa. Allah Ta'ala made us khulafa on the earth. From climate change and issues related to that, Allah تَتَغَوْ فِي الْمِيزَانِ. Allah says, don't mess with the balance of this earth. Don't do it. Don't do that. Also, you are khulafa. You have a nizam. I could use this hadith is fully is related to how we take care of the environment. From how Muslims should be good at recycling. Muslims should be. So I remember I went to Pakistan, got to Islamabad airport. I know what happens to us Pakistanis, that in England we stand in the queue and we obey the law, isn't it true? And we go to Pakistan and all of that goes straight out the window. Have you noticed? And this was at that time Benazir Bhutto airport, the old one, yeah? Got at the airport of Pak Sar Zameen Shahadabad, and got at the airport and he got these, obviously they're Mirpuris. You can tell Mirpuris from a mile away, innit? By the way, that's not racism, I'm a Mirpuri myself, yeah? And got to the thingy, and the guy sparks up a cigarette in the airport, not outside, in the airport. I'm looking at him thinking, what a joker, in the airport. And he's laughing about it. It's like, yeah, in Pakistan, so when Badshah, because we came back to Pakistan. Once you convert your pounds into your rupees, Badshah, Badshah jana banda, right? And then they're standing there and they're trying to push into the queue, and you got a couple of sharis. Allah bless the sharis. They have to put up with us, right? And he's standing there, and so he's trying to shoo him away, saying to him, and so this couple, it looked like they'd been playing tennis in America or something, right? A very interesting couple. And they're standing there, sort of 55, 60 years of age. They've been living in Canada for a very long time, you see. So they're very sherry type. And they're looking at this guy and they're, what's this scumbag doing here in the queue? So he's shooing him away like this. And I'm watching this whole altercation. I was thinking this would never happen at Heathrow. And this would never happen at Heathrow. And you just take it, have a cigarette and just throw it on the floor, right there in the airport. No consent for nothing. Allah left you as khulafa. Khulafa, you should have been the best at recycling. Should have been the best. Should have been at the forefront. I mean, I remember Mufti Musa Faba, I really put a post out once. And it's interesting because we were talking about it in those days. And then he put this post out and I thought, this is really good. He put out this post where he said, if the Prophet, I don't like this when people say, if the Prophet was here today, what would he do? The Prophet is here today. Yes, absolutely. Hayyun fi qulubina, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. But these sort of questions are silly. How dare you put words into the mouth of the Prophet? No, yeah, we can't do stuff like that. Yeah. But the point that he made was, looking at the way we treat meat, animals, the way we cage them, the way we beef them up with, these injections, the way we breed them, and the way they suffer. Have you just seen how they extract milk from the cows and what they do to them in order for them to not have calves and things of that nature? I mean, I don't want to repeat some of the words, but it's horrible how they treat animals in general. It's unbelievable. And he said, well, if the Prophet was here today, would he even allow you to eat meat right now? Like, would that be considered tayyib, is the first thing. Secondly, what would he say about this? Oh, but we need to produce enough meat for people to consume. Well, maybe you need to stop consuming it. And maybe that's what he would say, right? Don't get scared, I'm a meat eater, yeah? Muslims are not religiously vegetarians. You may be a vegetarian, that's perfectly fine, nothing wrong with it, as long as you don't consider eating meat or slaughtering meat to be haram or wrong or anything like that. No, because qurbani is part of our deen. But qurbani, isn't it? Is stuffing 200, 300 cows into a cage such they can barely move. Have you seen them? They hold them sideways, plug onto their odors, and they're just going around. And is that what the Prophet intended by enjoy the milk of cows? Is that what he intended? They do that to them purposefully in order to get their uders filled with milk so that they can. So a cow normally gives milk how many times in a day? On average. Twice a day. That's what they do. But that's not enough for people, because they want to mass produce their milk. So when you look at that, let alone what they do, have you seen this stuff? It's, honest to God, it is one of the most shocking things to see. And it really changes your perspective on meat, at least. Like, okay, consume the meat, but really, from a purely religious perspective, a moral perspective, what would the hukm be on such meat? What would it be on such meat? Interesting. And I'm not claiming to be ahead. I've tried many times and I've failed many times. And look, it's crazy. I think it's in America, it's more expensive to buy an apple than a burger. Interesting, isn't it? Like, have you ever tried to go like complete free range, everything? We've done it many times, like turning all of anything that's left over into compost. We've been through the whole, sort of trying to do a little bit of quote-unquote homesteading, as they say, right? And your food shopping bill will be 3 times as much, at least in Istanbul I'm speaking about, right? At least 3 times as much our bill was, just trying to make our milk, our eggs, our chicken. I say is, till this day, what I would have normally paid, I am paying 3 times as much for everything to be, I was going to say kosher, but for everything to be halal and tayyib, for it to be as much as possible, which is getting the free range chickens, the ones that have been running around, enjoying their lives, and then they were sacrificed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, to feed us, and eggs and milk, that's it, and cheese, dairy, that's it, because you have these farm shops in Istanbul, you have them here as well, these farm shops, and they deliver too, which is always interesting, but they are 3 times the price. So look how hard it is for you to do the right thing. So I wonder, but Allah left you as khulafa on the earth, and you're going to be asked about it. Like little things now I can't do. Like if I know that the eggs in the house are caged, I can't eat them. Like I feel sick when I try to eat them. Like I know it's easy to say, I'll go get a crate of eggs. Just pay a couple of pound extra. Maybe don't eat eggs. Yeah? I mean, you can't be that ghareeb, right? Who's that ghareeb? You can't spend an extra couple of pound, on some eggs. But I'll tell you, go and watch a video, and then you'll always be looking for the free range. You'll be looking for at least the murgha that you're gonna enjoy the egg from, at least had a decent life, rather than being it's horrible. Watch it for you. You should do it. Watch the videos on what they do to these animals, and then you think to yourself, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. What am I eating? What am I doing? And then look, it affects us then, isn't it? Because then look, when I eat that meat, then I'm worried, then I'm like, why is it I got no khushu in my namaz? My salah? Why is it I'm struggling to wake up? At night, why is it these things are happening? Well, look at where the meat's coming from. The meat's the big one. Meat is the big one. Everything else is like bread is baked here. Right? Bread is baked in house. They're not ready. Even that, to be honest. Because of even the farming products, how much they pay the farmers. Like there's a big problem with chocolate. So now a lot of your coffee beans, they'll have on there, that they be paying, because these beans are coming from abroad. So there's a lot. Primark, I've used Primark in the past. I'm not going to hide that. But I don't know if you've looked into that. But there's a lot of slave trader and slave labor and child labor from Bangladesh, Pakistan that Primark uses. So it's like, okay, I'm wearing a t-shirt, I got it cheaper than I'd get it from somewhere else, fine. But that t-shirt was a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old that was forced into labor to make it. The World Cup football, look how much billions is spent, used, grown economically on the World Cup. And the football was made by children in Pakistan. Crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy to think about this stuff. To think in the free world, in the civilized world. That's what we live in. It's a dystopia. It's an absolute dystopia. It's not a utopia. We live in I love it when they say it, and Mr. Morgan likes to say it as well, Piers Morgan. In the civilized world. Wow. What does that mean? This is the civilized world. This is the civilized world. Wow. Shukr that we got to the civilized world, where you have to chunni to find the things that you're eating, because it's rooted in oppression and evil, tyranny. You need to look at the clothes that you're buying. You know, because of the tyranny that's associated. Tyranny, not just you know, before it used to be, oh, look at the clothes that you're wearing. You know, someone stole them off the back of a lorry. Is that more haram? Or is it that there's been child labor used in Bangladesh to make your clothes? Which was more haram? Better off the lorry stolen than that. They're both wrong, by the way. But I'm just saying, which was more wrong? Like diamonds. Who told you that you need to give your wife or your fiance? Sorry here to all the families at home, listen to this. But whoever told you that you need to give a diamond to your fiance? The woman that you're about to marry. Who told you that? You know who told you that? Who's got a guess? Tiffany's. That's true. Go and Google it now. Look it up, yeah? Tiffany's, it was marketing. Qurban Jai and such marketing, huh? Look at that marketing that they did. That we believe it's a cultural thing now. That you give a diamond to your fiance. Whoever said give a diamond to your fiance, do you know where these diamonds come from? Red diamond, black diamond, you heard of this stuff. The children that they send into the little mines. Thousands of them that died, that become sick in a way that is irreversible to get that diamond that you want to give your fiance. MashaAllah, Shadi Mubarak. Shadi Mubarak. There's other stones. There's other stones that are more beautiful and more precious. The diamond isn't the most beautiful or precious stone. It's marketing. You know a good book that you should read? It's called Flat Earth News. Flat Earth News. Teaches you how to read the news and to read between the lines. That the founding of the media was by Freud's nephew. You know who Freud was, right? Master psychologist. His nephew, he utilized the ideas of his uncle, but the other way. Freud, I'm a psychologist, you come to me, I look at you, I realize your problems, I tell you, I give you solutions. This is taking the psychology of man and then telling them it was about, up until this point, it was supply and demand, right? Based upon the demand you supply, then it was like, that's hard work. Let's create the demand and then supply what we want to supply. Nice and easy. So look at the references. When you think of Coca-Cola, what do you think of? Holidays are coming. Remember the advert? Think of Christmas. You think of festivities. You think of holidays. You think of happiness. That's what you think of. It's so clever. It's so clever. The diamond. It's part of your culture. It's what you give your fiancé, for goodness sake. Part of the culture. Yet, when you go back to all of those things, they're rooted in evil, rooted in oppression, rooted in some of the worst types of crimes that human beings commit on other human beings. Just go and look at how diamonds are mined. And then see if you ever want to buy a diamond again. Check it. Go and see how most of your clothes are made and see if you want to wear those clothes again. Go and look at some of those videos of those animals and see how much you're willing to use from those sorts of people and what you're willing to bring into your home. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. But it's the civilized world. And just to finish the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, فَاتَّقُوا الدُّنْيَا وَاتَّقُوا النِّسَاءِ. So be mindful of your dunya and be mindful of the women. And here, this is because there's a great imtihan. A great imtihan. The Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِنَّ أَوَّلَ فِتْنَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل كَانَتْ فِي النِّسَاءِ. The first fitna of Bani Israel was in the women. There are a whole bunch of reasons before somebody starts to think that this is somehow attacking women. It's not attacking women at all. But there are a lot. Like for example, if you look in the Quraysh, it was a big fitna for them because they didn't give inheritance to their women. They didn't give inheritance to their women. They used to own them, buy them. Now you have to tell them that, hold on a minute, they're your azwaj, they're your partners. Do you know that? You have qawwama, you have the duty of protection, but they're your partners. Your mothers, your Jannah is beneath their feet. They used to inherit their mothers. Huge fitna. They used to bury their daughters alive. The Prophet is telling you that your daughters are rahmah. Now anyone that has two daughters and raises them well would be like this with me. I mean, he indicated with his fingers, however he did it. I don't know whether it was like this or like this. I don't know, so I'm not going to do it. But he put his two fingers together, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like this with me in Jannah. So he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Ya Rasulullah, what if you've only got one dua, even if you got one? It was huge, even now in our time. Remember, I was right here, sat right here. And I gave it a dars and I said that from the Sharia, is that in our people, a lot of Pakistanis anyway, they don't give their daughters their wirathat. It's true, isn't it? They don't give it to them. They don't give it to their sisters. And they make this, and it was, did you see the backlash? There was backlash off of that, you know, but what if they give it happily and willingly? Fine, but did they really give it happily and willingly? Or did you create a culture where it'd be shameful for them to keep their inheritance? I'd have to answer the question for you. I know what the answer is. You have to answer that question. Are you a bad woman for taking your inheritance, your right, your haqq from your brother? Are you a bad woman for that? Yes, of course, they can gift it to whoever they want. They can gift it to their brother, gift it to whoever they want. But did they really want to? Did they really want to? Oh, but it's just going to go to a husband anyway. That's the problem. The Sharia, the Prophet ﷺ gave women their own wealth. Firstly, they had haqq meher. You know, we've got some people in our part of the world. We come from a blessed part of the world, and we also come from a terrible part of the world. We have both of those, yeah? And they say about Egypt, my cousin who lives there used to say that Egypt, because I went there and I came back and he said, how was your experience? I said, mashallah, all you hear is Quran. And I said, and in between the Quran, you hear the guy trying to take the money out your pocket, right? And he said in Egypt, we have the best Qurra and we have the best chor. So he said, right? The best Qurra, the best reciters of the Quran, and the best thieves, right? Like that is our part of the world as well. What was I going to say? I was going to say something on that. Look, Allah Ta'ala made me forget. Maybe Allah saving me or something. About it, I might get in trouble for it, right? But point out, I was saying about haqq meher. In our part, they have it the opposite. The woman has to give jahez to the man. Have you seen this? This exists. She has to give jahez. Look, in our Sharia, the mahar was supposed to be substantial. One, so she has her own wealth. Why? Because if a woman has an element of wealth, it gives her genuine autonomy. Which means if she's being oppressed, actually oppressed, she's not fearful that she's going to go hungry, should she try to get out of that situation. As Muslims, do we like divorce? No, we hate it. It's makruh with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at the same time, you can't be in a situation where you're deeply, deeply oppressed, where there's physical abuse happening in some parts, in some families, not just for one person, there's physical abuse from 2 or 3 different people. Haram in the Sharia of the Prophet ﷺ. Like, I don't care if people sort of sit there and think, oh, kiya parde khulne ho? Or ikla ek din ho parde khulsan. What are you going to do then? It's better you do islah now than wait till Yawm al-Qiyamah. It's better do islah now. This is not from the Sharia of Rasulullah ﷺ. I'm not going to let people bring any dishonor to this religion because of their culture. No. So these are big fitna in many different ways, so many different ways. And then when these women grow up and this some negative culture, when I talk about my culture, not all of it is negative, much of it is good. The respect for parents, respect for elders. If somebody walks in the room who's a bit older than you, even if it's by a couple of months, what do? You get up, you're older, sit down. I love these things in our culture. We're good with our guests. Guest comes, you feed them, you look after them. I love things in our culture. Adab for mashayikh, for awliya. I love these things in our culture. But agar kuch garbar bhi hai, to you can't ignore that, right? Is there? So if you do milawat between deen and this aspect of culture, which is a problem, and you give it and you say, but Islam says this, Islam says this, Islam says this, then naturally those kids that grow up, they grow up hating their religion. They don't realize that this was just culture of a certain part of the world and it wasn't religion. They grow up to hate it and they don't want anything to do with it because they can't distinguish. And they somehow feel that their religion did this to them. And you're like, Hasha. Hasha, would the Prophet ﷺ ever do something like this to you? If there's something in the Sharia, it's in the Sharia. The Sharia is for us and against us. There's some things that you're going to say, balle balle, that's good for me. And there's some that you're going to say, oh, that's a bit difficult for me. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether you enjoy it or don't enjoy it. The Sharia is one. And it comes and it's for us and it's against us. Some things we enjoy, some things we don't enjoy. But the Sharia is for all of us. So where the Sharia says, you have to do this, of course you have to do it. But where the Sharia didn't say it, and it's an oppressive aspect of certain cultures, then to do to mix that all up and present it as one is a big disservice. And there are many people that have been pushed away from Islam because of these things. And may Allah not make us a means of that. Rasulullah ﷺ said, Bashiru wa la tunaffiru. Give glad tidings, don't create tanfir. Don't create nafrat. Don't create hatred in people's hearts for this deen. Yassiru wa la tu'assiru. Make it easy, don't make it hard. The Prophet is very latif. He was very shadeed when he had to be. Absolutely. In the Sharia, there's no compromise. But at the same time, there is scope. There is scope, and not everything has to be. When there's a gap or a free space, you can shovel it with your culture, that's okay. But as long as your culture is positive and in line with the spirit of the Sharia, otherwise it's a big problem. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us means, wasa'il of transmitting the nur of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam and not blocking that nur. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open the hearts of our community to the teachings of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to represent this religion and its spirit in a way that is pleasing to Allah and His Messenger. And if we fall short, then may Allah ta'ala forgive us in that. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Allah ta'ala forgive us for our shortcomings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala overlook our mistakes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the people of taqwa, from the people of nuqa, for the people of huda, the people of guidance. Ya Allah, we pray, we beg you, Ya Allah, that you guide us onto the straight path, the path of those whom you have blessed with your favor, Ya Rabbil Alameen, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Not those that have earned anger, nor those that have gone astray, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Allah, we beg of you to keep us on this straight path, the path of Islam, the path of our Master Muhammad ﷺ, until we meet you on the last day. Aminina salimina nadhirina ila wajhika al-kareem ya Rabbil Alameen ya Arhamar Rahimeen. And we ask of you, Ya Rabbil Alameen, we beg of you that you do not expose our mistakes in this dunya and not on the akhirah, and you protect them and you hide them from our beloved Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Ya Rabbil Alameen, let us not bring a frown onto the blessed face of the Prophet ﷺ. Ya Allah, allow us to become means of bringing a smile to his blessed face. Sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Akram al-Akramin. Ya Allah, we beg of you that you assist our brothers and sisters in Palestine, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Allah, the people of Gaza, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Every day we continue to count. Every day our heart breaks further and further, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen, we beg of you, bring healing to the people of Gaza, Ya Rabbil Alameen. The people of Al-Quds al-Sharif, Ya Rabbil Alameen. The people of Ramallah and the West Bank, Ya Rabbil Alameen. The people of Al-Quds al-Sharif, Ya Rabbil Alameen. The people of Palestine, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Allahumma kun ma'ahum, Ya Rabbana. Ya Rabbana, kun ma'ahum, Ya Rabbana. Ya Rabbana, Ya Fattah. افتح عليهم وعلينا جميعا يا رب العالمين. Ya Allah, we beg of you to be with the Uyghur, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Their plight is still there and people have forgotten. Ya Allah, be with the Muslims of East Turkmenistan, Ya Rabbil Alameen. The Uyghur, the blessed Uyghur, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We beg of you that you are with them, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Be with the people of Sham, the people of Yemen. Bless our teachers in Yemen, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Protect our mashayikh in Yemen, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Protect them, Ya Allah. These are blessed lands, the lands of Sham, the lands of Yemen. These are places that Rasulullah made dua for their barakah. We have no doubt that those lands will return with full glory, Ya Rabbil Alameen, Ya Akram al-Akramin, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Bijahi al-Nabi al-Kareem, Taha wa Yasin, wa sallillahumma wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ameen bi rahmatika, Ya Arhamar Rahimin.